I know. Can I have the cushion, please? Could you please move forward, please, everyone to move forward, please. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters, our dear guests, my dear children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Almost a week ago we were all thinking about how are we going to cope with the long days and the hot summer and lack of sleep. Alhamdulillah, 7 days have gone. Khalas, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. May Allah accept from all of us, inshallah, and empower us to continue the fast to the end of the month, inshallah. Inshallah. You may recall last week I was talking about the different types of fast, and we said there is obligatory fast, which is the fard, and optional or voluntary fast. And the obligatory or the fard fast, we have 3 different types. You have Sawm Ramadan, the fast of Ramadan, or Sawm al-Nadhr, when you make a vow, or Sawm al-Kaffarat, expiation of anything wrong you did. And today we'll continue our talk regarding fasting in Islam. Ramadan, the fast of Ramadan became obligatory. It was on Monday, the 2nd of Sha'ban, the 2nd year of Hijrah. Very interesting. As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Ummah 28-day notice. Exactly, 28-day notice, you are going to start to fast Ramadan. Let me mention some of the virtues of Ramadan and the deeds done during it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Ramadan arrived, he gave a talk, he gave a speech. He said, قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ شَهْرٌ مُبَارَكٌ, a blessed month has come to you. افترض الله عليكم صيامه, Allah has ordained that you fast during the month. تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة, or تفتح فيه أبواب الجنة, the gates of heaven will be opened. وتغلق فيه أبواب الجحيم, and the gates of the hellfire will be closed. وتغل فيه الشياطين, Satans will be chained. فيه ليلة خير من ألف شهر, in it there is a night which is better than 1,000 months in its reward, in its value. من حرم خيرها فقد حرم, whoever is deprived of its good is really deprived of something great. This hadith is reported by Ahmad and Nasai and al-Bayhaqi. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the 5 daily prayers and Friday to Friday and Ramadan to Ramadan are expiations for all that happened during that period. In other words, they are to atone any wrong we did. And this is reported by Muslim. Another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever will fast Ramadan, obeying all of its limitations, and whilst guarding himself against what is forbidden, it will atone all the sins before that. The next hadith you will hear the same words repeated in 3 different hadith, one regarding the fast of Ramadan, one regarding the prayer at the night of Ramadan, and one regarding Laylatul Qadr. This one regarding Ramadan, it says, Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaba. Whoever fasts Ramadan with faith and expecting the reward only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from anyone else. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. All his past sins will be purged, will be purified. رواه أحمد والبيهقي بسند جيد. Sorry, this one رواه أحمد وأصحاب السنن. The Prophet ﷺ warned us that to lose one day in Ramadan without a reason, it will not even be, sometimes people say, I don't feel well. Okay, fine. If you really don't feel well and you have something which is making you not able to fast, if you have an excuse which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would, I would say, tolerate, fine. But there are people, unfortunately, are not taking it seriously at all. At all. They don't make an effort, they don't try. The complaint is always about my headache, I don't drink any coffee, I miss my tea, I miss my cigarette or my tobacco. And the Prophet ﷺ warned us regarding this. Man aftara yawman fi Ramadan. Whoever will not fast, will break his fast one day in Ramadan without a concession, without a cause which is permitted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will not be enough for him to fast for the rest of his life, to compensate for that day he lost. We need to take Ramadan seriously, please. It's the month in which the Quran started, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala attracts us to the importance of the Quran by making us fast this month. So we must make an effort, please. It is hard, the days are long, it is hot, you are working, you may be losing concentration, but if you can fast, وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. If you can fast, fast. Make the effort and the niyyah, and Allah will help you, inshallah. We always have a problem regarding working out the beginning of the month and the end of the month. As if there is more than one moon and there is more than one earth. And you find some communities, even within the same country or within the same family, starting the fast on different days, starting the Eid celebration on different days. What sort of unity is that? The criteria is very, very simple. The new moon must be born above the horizon and remains there until after the sunset. Just as simple as that. The new moon must be born above the horizon and remains there after the sunset. If the new moon is born below the horizon, it's not acceptable as the beginning of the month. If the new moon sits before the sunset, it is not the beginning of the month. Just as simple as that. And I will never forget. You see, we have always this disputation among ourselves. Should we rely on the astronomical calculations? Are we going to rely on it? Or should we really go out and look for the new moon? And what will happen if we can't see it? There are clouds or smoke or pollution. We cannot see it. What will happen? Almost maybe 20 years ago, I was in Florida with the children. And by pure coincidence, that was a pure coincidence, switched the television on and a message came from NASA. Can you imagine NASA? And what was on the TV? In accordance with the calculations, we are expecting the new moon to be born tonight. Could you please go out and look for it and report it back to us? NASA was saying this 20 years ago. That the calculation, the formula, the mathematical formula they use may not be 100% certain. They were asking people to go out and look for the new moon and report it back. Maybe they have advanced the formula in the last 20 years. I don't know. But does the formula include these two conditions, that the new moon must be born above the horizon and remains until after the sunset? I don't know. Maybe one of you will write to NASA and ask them this question. Can you tell us, please, if in your astronomical calculation to work out the new moon every month, they do that. They don't have to do it because we are waiting for Ramadan or Shawwal or Dhul Hijjah. No, they do it every month. Ask. There are so many brilliant scientists among us here. Write to NASA and tell them this is the criteria. Does your formula, the mathematical equation you use, it's so precise, the precision, you won't imagine how precise the equation is. Does it include this? If the answer is yes, then I will rely entirely on that. Just as simple as that. But unfortunately, you see, Ramadan might have started in Pakistan 2 or 3 days later. Or somewhere when we have political difference among ourselves, they used to see the moon in Egypt, and Saudi would say no, because Egypt and Saudi were not on good terms. So we bring politics even regarding when should we start the fast or start the Eid. Prophet ﷺ clearly stated, if you can't see the new moon, complete the month 30 days. Finished. What's the big deal? That's what he said. If you can't see it, complete it 30 days. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our hearts and abolish the ignorance from our ummah. Ignorance. Right. Everything has elements or cornerstones. I mean, when we talk about what are the essential elements of the fast, we have two. Number one, the niyyah, intention. Did you stop eating and drinking before dawn today because you wanted to fast, or you are not sure whether I'll be fasting tomorrow or not? So we must have the niyyah, the intention. When you put your hand in your pocket to donate some money, was it to impress the person sitting next to you or to please the Lord? When you stood up to pray, was it to impress someone the way you pray, or because you feel you wanted to please your Creator? Tell you a very interesting story happened at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. A man came into the mosque and he prayed. Umar called him and said, excuse me, you prayed so fast. When you pray, you should do this, you should do that. Go and re-pray. Do it again. Repeat your prayer. So the poor man repeated his prayer in the way Umar explained to him. So Umar said to him, which one do you think was better? He said, shall I tell you, but don't be upset? He said, yes. He said, the first one. He said, why? He said, I did the first one and my fear was from Allah. I did the second one and my fear was from you. Okay? Just, you can see the niyyah. Very simple. Very simple. So you don't have to say, Nawaitu siyam ghadan. I have the intention of fasting tomorrow. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. When you walk through this door, why are you here? Why did you come here? To watch the movie? You came here to pray, to join the Friday prayer. So, the niyyah. Can I say the niyyah, I'm going to fast the 30 days of the month? Some opinions say, no, you have to say it every day. I mean, to have the niyyah renewed every day. When you wake up for sahur, just your niyyah. Just as simple as that. Even if you have a glass of water next to you, and you look at your watch and you say, oh, still 5 minutes for Fajr. Alhamdulillah, I had my sahur. You can't do that. It is the niyyah, it is the intention. When you talk about the mind and the heart are pushing you forward to do something, that's the meaning of the niyyah. You don't stand up to say, Nawaitu usalli rak'atain al-jum'ah al-hadir jama'atan fard. No, we don't say that. The niyyah is in your heart. When you stand up and joining the imam, that's the niyyah, the word niyyah, intention. What is your intention? And of course, the second rukn or essential element or cornerstone of the fast is to do what? Abstention. Exactly. No food, no drink, no fulfillment of any sexual desire. Fine. That's the fast. No drink. Really? People ask that question. You've been fast for 18, 19 hours. You can't even drink? No, we don't drink. There was a very interesting research by a Japanese professor. He's not a Muslim, but he fasts every Ramadan. And he fasts 3 days every month. He fasts actually, yeah, I maybe we'll put this on our website. He discovered that during the fast, if you fast for minimum 8 hours, but not fasting 8 hours and sleeping, no, moving, the good cells in the body would attack any bad cells, including cancerous cells, and finish them off, remove them completely. And he discovered this without being a Muslim. When we fast, when the Prophet ﷺ said, "Go tasihhu," starve, you will fast, you will be healthy. It is true, but you don't know what's happening inside the body. What's happening to the bad cells, what's happening to the bad temper, what's happening to the bad language. All these things are being affected. So we need to abstain, as my dear son said here, and we must have the niyyah. Okay, now who should fast? Who is fit? Yeah, okay. You have to be fit, you have to be healthy. You have to be a believer, okay. What else? Can she fast? Do you think she should fast? Should you fast? What do you think? How old are you? 15? You are older than me, my goodness. Okay. I'm talking about what's left, not what has gone. 15. From the age of puberty, it becomes obligatory on boys and girls to start the fast. Just as simple as that. Having an exam is not an excuse for not fasting. It's not an excuse for not fasting, because Allah defines it clearly, the reasons why you could or you may not fast. I will explain them very quickly. So if you are sane, if you are not traveling, if you are healthy, if you are an adult, then you should fast. And as you all know, fasting comes 11 days every year, because we follow a lunar calendar. So in the winter, you will be fasting from 4 o'clock, from 6 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Very short day, but the night is long, to give you more time for your ibadah, for your worship during the night. During the summer, the day is very long, but the night is very short. So Allah always compensates this with that. But please do not force your children, because I received complaints from some schools. Do not force your children, please, who are not supposed to be fast to fast. Don't do that. It's wrong. You can train them. You can train them by saying, okay, you can fast only 1 hour, or you will have no chocolate like the Lent, as our Christian brothers and sisters do. Okay, you will fast from chocolate today, or you will not have a drink of fizzy drink today. But do not force the children who did not reach the age of puberty to fast. It's up to them, and they can fast maybe few hours during the day, and that's it. After that, break the fast. I remember one of the parents came to see me, and he said, the school called him and said, look, your child is not feeling well, and he should break the fast. And he said, if you open his bag, you will see the mother already made him his meal. And she said clearly to him, when you feel you want to eat, eat. But the boy, he was about 11 or 12, he insisted he wanted to fast. But the teacher noticed that he is actually going through a dizziness, which is not good. So please remember this. Now, who is permitted not to fast, but will have to pay ransom? You know the meaning of the word ransom? What is ransom? Fidya. What is it? What is fidya? What is it?
Give to poor people, feed poor
exactly, to feed a poor person for every day you could not fast. Right. Now, someone is okay, let me give you a few examples so at least we understand. Someone is chronically ill, he's not going to recover. He's terminally ill. Do you think he should fast? No. So he is not going to fast for 30 days.
You pay 150 pounds.
So he pays 150 pounds to, but he hasn't got the money.
Then Allah knows.
Exactly. He hasn't got the money, then he doesn't do it. Just as simple as that. يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. God wants ease for you. He doesn't want hardship for you. ما جعل الله عليكم في الدين من حرج. Allah never placed on you any hardship in your religion. Anything which lacks mercy is not from our religion. Just as simple as that. Just as simple as that. Let's say I'm an old person, I'm in my late 80s, but I'm not chronically ill. But I find it extremely difficult to fast, whether at the summer or at the winter. Should I fast? There is no sin not to fast, but again to pay the rent. Okay. Suppose someone is doing hard labor. I want you to imagine he's asphalting the roads in the middle of the desert, and he has no other income to support his family, and this is the only time he's working. What do you think? Can he fast during any other time in the year? If yes, then he should. Let's say I'm finding it extremely difficult. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ. Allah says that. يُطِيقُونَهُ means they suffer so much to fast. But I can fast in the winter. Then I should do it later. Suppose someone is healthy, but his GP told him, if you fast during these long hours, this can affect your kidneys because you have a certain condition. He's healthy, but if he will fast, it can affect his health. So the answer is, don't fast. If he can fast in the winter, let him fast in the winter. If he can't, we talk about fidya. We need to understand all this to be able to explain it to people who look at you and they say, oh, it's a torture. I never forget that. A non-Muslim wife said to her Muslim husband, she said, this is a torture. She regarded it as a form of torture. No, there is no torture in our religion. If we understand the true concessions, we will be able to do it. No problem. Right.
Easy for everything, but no salat, which is we.
Rafiq, this is a very valid point, and we say it every week and every month now. Now, a pregnant woman, the question is always like that, a pregnant woman or a breastfeeding woman, is she obliged to fast? Should she make up the days later, or she should just pay a ransom? Let's think about it. Because Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar, they both have a great opinion regarding this. If a woman is breastfeeding for 2 years, this is the right of the child in accordance with Islamic rules and regulations. This is the right of the child to be fed for 2 years. وَحَمْلُهُ وَفِصَامُهُ. How many months? 30 شهرا. 30 months. The pregnancy and the breastfeeding is 30 months. So the maximum breastfeeding is 2 years, 24, and the pregnancy is for 6 months. For 9 months pregnancy, you reduce the 2 years, but the total must be 30. So this poor woman, she was pregnant for 9 months, she didn't fast, and then she's going to do breastfeeding for 2 years, she can't fast. So do you expect Allah wants her to fast all this after? No way, no way. Where is the mercy? So Ibn Abbas and Ibn Umar, he said they pay the ransom and they don't make up the days they missed. Just as simple as that. Right. Who is permitted not to fast, but they have to make up the days later, in the year before the next Ramadan, and they have the right to choose when? Traveler, someone is traveling. Okay, so if I go to Birmingham every day, to Manchester, Birmingham is 80 miles, so it gives you the concession. Should I do that? I don't want to fast. I'll go to Birmingham and come back.
Depend on the...
I swear by God, someone said that. Allah Allah, he said that. I go to Birmingham and come back. I don't have to fast. No. Again, the niyyah. It depends upon your niyyah. Are you running away? Are you finding an excuse not to do it? This is the whole problem. This is the problem. Okay, so I am traveling. Let's say first class, London, New York. VIP lounge and first class. And should I fast? You see, when you think about it, I'm fasting with the sun. So the day is getting longer and longer and longer. I have the right not to fast. Suppose I wanted to fast, up to you. But don't blame someone sitting next to you who's not fasting. Yes, traveling day, I have the right not to fast. But I don't come all the way from the Middle East here to spend the summer here in London, and I go to visit them and they say, oh, sorry, Dr. Fahim, we are not fasting because we are travelers. I said, excuse me, travelers what? You've been here for a week now. I was going to spend the whole month. So it is the niyyah, the concept, it has to sink properly in our heads. Okay, someone traveling, and say I had a terrible chest infection and I'm on antibiotics and I'm so ill and I have can I break my fast?
Temporary, yes.
Temporary, yes. So I can break my fast, but make up the days later. And look at the mercy of God. Look at His mercy. Look at the mercy. Do I have, let's say I missed 10 days in Ramadan, and I have to make them up before next Ramadan. Do I have to fast them in a row? No, I don't have to. Absolutely right. So I can do one day every week. And can you imagine you get the reward, the same reward, as if you have fasted the days in Ramadan. Okay? But please make sure, before the next Ramadan, you make up the days you missed. Okay? Is that clear? The third type, who must not fast and must make up the missed days. Someone who shouldn't fast, not allowed to fast. Women when they have their period or the post-childbirth bleeding, when a woman starts her period, that's it. She cannot fast for the week, but she must make up the days. And according to Aisha, she said, we were commanded by the Prophet ﷺ to make up the days we missed during Ramadan, but we never been commanded to make up the prayers we missed. And this, you see again the mercy of Allah. How would it have been if Allah would have commanded the women who lost 1 week every month to make it up? No way. For the salah. For the sawm, yes, but not for the salah. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to welcome two visitors who came to talk to you today. Very, very good friends of us. And they're going to tell you something very interesting about their campaign. So may I invite, please, Wes, if you can come here, please. And where is Bilal? Come here, please. It's nice to meet you. Beauty before age, yeah? Right. Right. If you could kindly introduce yourself, please, and tell the congregation what you are doing, and then Bilal will follow.
Sure. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem, and it's been a real pleasure and privilege listening to you, Dr. Fahim, talk about the rules of fasting during Ramadan. I'm very familiar, having grown up with the Muslim community my whole life. I grew up in Tower Hamlets in Stepney, where we have a large Bengali Muslim population, and like many Tower Hamlets boys and women born and bred, I've moved gradually eastwards, and the Muslim community tends to have moved with me as well. But it was very interesting listening to your lecture, and particularly thinking about, I was out just last weekend with Rushanara Ali, the MP for Bethel, standing for election to be the MP for Bethnal Green and Bow, and talking to her about how she fasts during an election campaign, and I particularly admire the discipline of Labour candidates and Labour members who are fasting and campaigning at the same time. It requires a particular discipline. But thank you very much for giving me the honour and privilege of coming to address you this afternoon. The election campaign in Ilford North is going to be a very close race. And 2 years ago, I asked people to support me to become the Member of Parliament on the basis of things that I would do for the community and the way in which I would serve. And effectively, 2 years ago, what I was doing is asking people, based on our conversations and based on the campaigning, based on work I'd done on the local council, to trust that I would deliver the things that I said I would. So 2 years on, this time, the big difference is I'm standing on my record of the things that I have done, as well as the things that I would like to do for our community. And this is a really important election, not just for our community, but for our whole country as well. It's partly about issues and about policies, and in particular, the campaigns that I've been running, whether it's to save the A&E at King George Hospital over in Goodmayes, supporting Whipps Cross to come out of special measures, or on crime and policing, where I've had more complaints from residents about not just burglary but antisocial behaviour and drug dealing at this election, the school cuts that are threatening every single primary school in Ilford North, which are set to lose £3.6 million by 2022 if the Conservatives are re-elected. It's partly about policies and about issues, and asking people to re-elect me to carry on being the strong community constituency MP that I have been, fighting on issues that directly affect our community, but also asking people to re-elect me to be one of Parliament's most active MPs, as I have been already, because of my values as well and the kind of society that we want to live in. Because there are, I think, two very big competing visions at the heart of this election about whether we have a country that genuinely works in the interests of the many or just works in the interests of a privileged few. And there are so many examples of how our society is rigged to support those at the very top, whether the highest earners or the biggest corporations. And I'm always struck by the debates we've had in Parliament about why it is that our NHS is facing funding cuts, or why it is that our schools are facing funding cuts. We can always find money to cut the taxes of the very wealthiest individuals or for the very biggest corporations. And I think that's why we've got a society in which life chances are still overwhelmingly determined not by your ability or your ambitions or your potential, but about the circumstances that you were born into. And as someone who was brought up on a council estate in Stepney, worked hard, had brilliant education, a state education, went to one of our country's leading universities, and then made the unexpected journey from those beginnings to becoming a Member of Parliament, I know probably better than most how important a good start in life is, and how important it is that we have a country that genuinely works in the interests of the many rather than the few. And I hope that I'll be re-elected on that basis. But I would also say to all of you that in terms of supporting the Muslim community, I hope you feel that I've been a strong MP acting for you. I'm very proud of the diversity of this community. I'm very proud of the fact we have people of all races, faiths, backgrounds, and I'm proud to represent that broad diversity. And for the Muslim community in particular, you know what the challenges are. And you hopefully have seen the record that I have demonstrated in Parliament for the last 2 years, whether that's tackling rising Islamophobia in our society, both by speaking up in Parliament and bringing together locally Muslim community organisations and other community groups and the police and the council to talk about how we tackle it. Speaking up for human rights, not just in this country defending civil liberties, but also around the world as well, whether that's about the Rohingya Muslims or the people in Yemen or Palestinians who I met when I visited last year with Medical Aid for Palestinians. I will continue to be a strong campaigner for human rights around the world. And I hope, based on what you've seen so far and based on the platform I'm standing on this election, that I've done enough to earn your trust. But you are my boss, and this is my job interview, and there is still a week to go. So if you do have any more questions for me in the coming week, please don't hesitate to pick up the phone or come and see me, and I'll be very happy to speak to you. But for now, I'll just conclude by saying a huge thank you for inviting me here during what is a very important time of year for you, and for giving me this opportunity to address you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, my name is Bilal Mahmood, and I'm the other candidate in Redbridge. I'm from the Labour Party, but for Chingford and Woodford Green. So, just like we discussed, when does Ramzan start and when does Eid start, there's a border between myself and Wales as well, and it's the central line essentially. But I think most of the brothers and sisters here will be from South Woodford and Ilford North. So there's two things briefly that I want to talk about. First of all is to wish you all and your families and everybody here a Ramzan Mubarak and a Ramadan Mubarak. Inshallah, that gives you a strengthened sense of deen and iman, but not too many samosas at iftar time. I know I'm feeling that as well. The second thing is of course to echo and all the things that Wes says. I've worked with him closely over the past 4 or 5 years, and I can say that he's hand on heart a very dedicated public servant. He's close to communities. Everything he says isn't something that he's made from a script. He means it, and I wholeheartedly support him. As for me, I'm in Chingford of Woodford Green. It's currently a Conservative seat, and that's up against Ian Duncan Smith. Many of you may have seen him. I doubt many of you may have ever come across him. I'm fighting this because, like many of you, I was born and raised in the area. I grew up in Woodford Green. Places like protecting the NHS and local schools matter to me because I went to those schools. Those are the teachers that inspired me to stand up and get involved in my community and do well in it. The local Whipps Cross Hospital and the damaging cuts that are being made to it matter to me because I was born there. My nanny or my grandmother still has dialysis there. So when we're saying we're invested in the community, we really mean it. So as Wes has said on his record, why he's standing, and they're incredibly right and noble ones, I'm asking you in the month as well to remember that it's important for us to get out next Thursday and vote. Often when we door knock and canvass, we'll have brothers and sisters who come out and shake your hand. They're very happy to see you and they'll love taking a poster and there'll be a smile. But there'll be that pause afterwards and they'll be like, brother, we're not doing enough. Or, you know, you've got to do a bit more. I'd say, inshallah, we'll try our best. But the key is all of us making a stand and getting out there and voting. And some of you may not be inclined to vote for Labour right now. Inshallah, maybe we can change your mind, who knows? I know Wes is a great person who can change your mind. And if not, I'm very happy to talk to you outside the mosque about it as well. But we have it upon us in the next week to do everything we can to stand as a voice of the Muslim community. Because we all know in the past 10 or 15 years, we have been having people taking and hijacking our name and our cause and misrepresenting ourselves to the wider community. And I think it's vitally important that communities like this in South Woodford and in Ilford North stand up at times like this to say, this is who we represent, this is the Ummah, part of the community, friendly, open, worried about our hospitals, but also willing to say things in a democratic way. So all I would ask is, and echoing everything that Wes has said, but also to remember that it's important for us to act and to vote next Thursday. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you very much indeed.
Brothers, before I make any announcement, can I request everyone to please stand up, make the saf as if you are praying now, fill in the gaps so that the brothers who are at the back, standing outside, can come in. So can you please fill in the gaps in the front? I think there's room for one more here. Yeah, you can come in. Can you please fill in and stand shoulder to shoulder, please? Don't leave any gaps. And don't keep the legs too far apart because that'll take more room. So, Jazakallah. Firstly, about the prayer times, tomorrow the Fajr is changing to 3 a.m. instead of 3:15, and Isha prayers to 10:45 instead of 10:30. So just for those of you who are coming for Fajr, it's 3 a.m. Isha 10:45. That's from Saturday. Two announcements, very sadly. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Brother Kabir Jasat, who is the gentleman who made our website. He was our man on the technical side on IT. His younger brother passed away in Mauritius, 37 years old. Please remember him in your prayers. May Allah forgive his shortcomings and bless him with a place in Jannatul Firdaus. Brother Kiani, whom we mentioned a week ago, was ill in hospital from Wanstead. He's passed away as well. His family have requested for prayers. Please remember the brother in your prayers. Jazakumullah khair.
quick adhan, please. Make quick adhan.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة
لا حول
حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح
لا حول ولا قوة.
حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Put it on. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه أما بعد فيقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة البقرة أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه. أما بعد، فيقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في نفس السورة: أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله آياته للناس لعلهم يتقون. صدق الله العظيم وبلغ نبيه الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آل بيتك الطيبين الطاهرين وأزواجك أمهات المؤمنين وصحابتك الخلفاء الراشدين والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ونحن معهم بفضلك وجودك وكرمك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين وأهلك أعداءك أعداء الدين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم إنا نسألك هداك ورضاك. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا في رضاك. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم ارحم موتانا. اللهم ارحم موتانا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا